So Joe Biden's going to the U.S. Virgin Islands after his week-long vacation at Camp David. He might just be visiting his own island. Let's learn about that island. Y'all are going to love this. So it's got a very low population, no significant commercial establishments. There are homes to accommodate visitors, though. There are also There's an underground fort partially constructed by the U.S. during World War II and scuba diving site Supermarket Reef in Limestone Bay. Oh, the eastern third of the island is a gated community, Sprat Bay, and it's kind of funny because Sprat is Ghislaine's nickname from her brother. And look, it's a nature preserve owned by the United States Department of the Interior. Weird. Oh, so this is the history of it, and it was a frequent stop for pirates seeking to replenish their ship's store of fresh water. In the 19th century, the island was owned by several free black and mulatto people who had cotton plantation and raised livestock. Oh, so like slaves. And then the U.S. believed that the company acted as a front for Germany and sought to establish a German naval base and commercial presence on St. Thomas. Water Island was not purchased by the U.S. until June 19, 1944, when it was purchased for $10,000 to protect the submarine base on St. Thomas during World War II. Ghislaine Maxwell is a submarine pilot. From 1944 to 1950, the island was under the operation of the Department of Defense. Construction on Fort Sagara commenced in 1944, but the fort was abandoned and complete in 1948. The United States Army's Chemical Warfare Division used sections of Water Island to test chemical warfare agents, including predecessors of Agent Orange from 1944 until 1950. It was then turned over to the Department of Interior and leased out, primarily to residential tenants. But who? We'll get to that in a minute. Control of Water Island was transferred from the federal government to the territorial government on December 12, 1996 for the sum of $25 million. The same amount the federal government paid for the entire U.S. Virgin Islands in 1917, making Water Island the last virgin. In the late 1990s, the Department of Interior began transferring Water Island land to the long-time residential leaseholders. In 2005, the U.S. Virgin Islands government announced plans to further develop Water Island and to increase the amount of residential housing to deal with the chronic shortages on St. Thomas. And then read this last part. But let's get to the good part. Oh yeah, check this out. Wow. All right, let's get back to this. In May 2005, put the timeline together, okay, guys? James Biden purchased an acre of land on Water Island for $150,000. He then applied for and received an easement to divide the property into 3 plots, one of which he has sold to lobbyist Scott Green, a decade-long Senate staffer for Joe Biden in the 1980s, for $150,000. James had initially purchased all 3 parcels, meaning that he made his money back and was able to keep the majority of the 1-acre plot for himself. So fucking pirate, right? Anyways, here's Biden with Green. This dude quotes Biden endorsing Green. Earned 2 government contracts from the Federal Emergency Management Agency worth a total of $5.8 million on April 11, 2010. 3 days later, Green extended a $133,000 mortgage to James Biden for his remaining Water Island property. Property records reviewed by Politico showed that Green had received full payment and full satisfaction in September of 2013. Joe Biden and his family traveled to Water Island several times during his vice presidency, but did not stay on his brother's or Green's islands, which remains undeveloped. Lafayette Group earned tens of millions of dollars in government contracts during the course of Biden's time as vice president, During his time in the Senate, Biden also advocated for a number of acres in which Green's lobbying intersected, including a broadband network for his first responders and the nonprofit DARE program. I mean, this is for educational purposes only. It's satire.